Okay, here we go. We're going to get ready for our first lecture lesson, the sun. Another word for that is soul. Either way you look at it, it's the self. So we got sun, the soul, the self. We'll be right back. All right, welcome to the series on Planetary Magic. Now, before we get started, let me say this. These videos are going to be approximately 10 minutes in duration. These videos are only designed to be a very fundamental, basic idea of the very starting out on a journey of planetary magic. With that being said, that's why they're only approximately 10 minutes. And we're only scratching the surface here, okay? But if you'll look at the video, you'll see, like in video 1, this one, you'll see the sun. Then you'll see what it represents, as in the self. And then below that, you'll see where it says rules Leo. That gets into rulership in astrology. And then even below that, you'll see the elements. So we're not covering the rulership, and we're not covering the elements, the modalities or dualities of the signs and planets right now. But those two latter aspects, the rulership and the element, will be what we build on for a future series. And then when we get to that series, well, then we'll replace those lower aspects on the intro screen as we move through. Also, another key note is that within the video, there are textual cues that I've placed in there, and you can think of those as notes. So be sure, even though it may seem mundane to sit there and look at a screen that changes very subtly, but I try to keep those notes kind of flowing for the sake of watching it, watching the video. So yeah, those few things right there are just some of the things that I wanted to put out there in this very first video. If you have questions, comments, concerns, email me. Put in the subject line Planetary Magic, and as time allows, I'll get to them. But keep in mind, I'm putting these videos together weekly, so if I don't get to you, please don't take offense. All right, let's get to it. Welcome back. The sun represents the self, right? So let's look at that word, sun. Actually, let's look at the other word for sun, soul, S-O-L. Now, if soul, or sun, represents the self, well, that's you, right? So let's throw that you in there. So let's see what we got, etymologically speaking. Boom. See that? Okay, enough playing around with etymology. But let's digress back to our topic here. The sun. The sun represents the self, and that is to say the ego, basically. And that's what makes you, you. And with that being said, the other side of this aspect is the sun's position within the ecliptic at the time of your birth, which also has a very large degree as to who you are. Another thing we have to take into account, what makes you, you, is not only the sun, its position at the time of your birth, but also all the things you've ever experienced up until this very exact moment. Those are also things that make you, you. Because as we go through these lessons, we'll find that there is nothing left to chance. And that is to say this, that the self, you, the sun, which represents the self, you experience the world very independent of anybody else because of the sun's placement in your chart at your birth. Okay? So your experience is yours. Even though we're all connected. But your experience is yours. So therefore we see how we have become what we are right now in this moment due to the sun's placement at the time of our birth. Along with that, how we view the world all hinges on the placement of the sun at the time of our birth. And how we view the world forms and shapes our world. What does that have to do with planetary magic? Well, everything, because everything that comes your way will be perceived through the filter of your sun, your self, your ego, your relation to the world. And that relationship to the world is evident, especially when manifested through these phrases. Listen, tell me, don't tell me, but answer this in the quietness of your own mind. Have you ever asked these questions? Why is this happening to me? What have I done? Why is it no matter what I do? Now I understand all those things have a negative vibe to them, but if you're 100% totally happy with your life, hey, that's great, and I'm thankful for you for that. But keep in mind, the people that come in here are possibly looking for something. They're looking for something, and so if your life is 100% great and everything, that's cool, man. That's awesome. I'd like to hear from you, so drop me a line. But this kind of isn't for you, almost, you know. And now, while we're on that aspect of things, before we go further, I know, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that there's some of you who are already started to pick apart what I've been saying up to this point. On a side note, but let me put this in here. Carl Jung was quoted saying that if he had only 10 years left to live, he would spend it studying astrology. So this is, in a large capacity, astrology, but it's also planetary magic, because the planets have energies, and those energies affect us. Crowley's definition of magic. Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. Let's consider the following little caption of his quote. The science and art. Okay, now we know that science is in the praxis of inspection. Okay, that's what science does. Okay, it inspects things. Okay, let's inspect the insect. Okay, where art is the praxis of expression. Okay, so how can we truly know how to express ourselves properly with having no inspection of who we are? That might have lost you. Or you might think I'm lost, but check it out. Astrology is the way to know oneself, why you do what you do, and if there needs to be any changes to occur in the way that one perceives the world around them, thereby the way one perceives oneself. And understanding yourself will give you the knowledge to understand the changes that need to take place in the self, in your view of the world around you, and the view of yourself. And that will give you a tool to which you can utilize to make changes that are going to benefit you. Now, with that being said, I'm going to say it again. Magic is the science and art of causing change to occur in conformity with will. So, there's some of you here that want to change your life. You want to change your perception of yourself, your perception of the world around you. And that being done, and then you coming out of your fog, if you will. I'm talking about just being a more content individual, where you finally get to the point where you look around and you say, really, I have nothing, but I lack nothing. Hey, man, if you can convince me that that's not magic, I'll kiss your ass. Namaste.